Are you a movie buff? Do you love dissecting and analyzing your favorite films? Look no further than the Projection Booth podcast. Join host Mike White and a bevy of guest experts as they explore the history, themes, and legacy of cult classics, obscure gems, and mainstream hits. Join us every week for a unique and engaging look at your favorite movies. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in to the Projection Booth podcast, available on all major podcast platforms.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Weirding Way Media.
Right, Mr. Walters?
You see that guy over there? Now, he's an actor. The guy on the phone? He's a prize fighter. Me? I'm a cab driver. I'm the only cab driver in this place.
Hello and welcome to Night Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast. I am HP, and with me as always is my co-host, Father Malone. Father Malone, how are you this evening?
I'm Cookie Puts for Nick.
This week, we are diving into Taxi Episode 18, Mama Gravas. This was written by the Charles brothers, Glenn and Les, and of course, it was directed by James Burrows. Quick reminder, we're doing these shows in broadcast order and not in order of filming. With this episode, we open with another glorious, we've made no bones about the fact that we're in love with the B-roll on this show, Father Malone. And this one is another wonderful slice of New York circa 1979. But this time, it's outside the garage, and wonder of wonders, it's a beautiful sunshiny day. I mean, some of the windows in the garage are even opened. And just last episode, there was like snow everywhere. Remember dribble, dribble, drap? It was, what the hell's going on with New York? It's crazy.
Well, I'll tell you, some of those deep in the heart of winter episodes, the B-roll was very sunny days. So let's just say that they're inconsistent and just admire what they've captured.
I just think it's always feast or famine with the weather on this show. It's either a blizzard and there's snow drifts that look like they're 7 feet high, or it's just gorgeous blue, crisp, clear weather. I don't understand, but we'll go with it.
That's New York. They say, you don't like the weather, just wait a minute.
We're in the garage now, and Latka comes strolling by. He has a sweet brownish suit with 12-inch lapels. They must at least be 12 inches wide.
It's taupe. It was taupe.
Taupe, okay.
Maybe peach. I don't know what you're describing, sir. And the stitching, oh my God, what such beautiful stitching.
The stitching was on point. Maybe I need my eyes checked, but it looked brownish to me. But it's Latka's in his formal wear, what passed for formal wear in 1979. It's the height of fashion. So resident simpleton Tony asks Latka why he's so dressed up. That was for your benefit, Father Malone.
Yeah.
Latka replies that his mother is visiting from, quote, the old country. Again, we never learn the name of the country. We never learn what to call their language. It's just the old country. Latka's mother is coming right to the garage. She's coming directly from the airport, so Latka can take her out for lunch. And Latka adds that Louis gave him the rest of the day off so that he could show his mother around the city, which is very nice. And of course, just then, Louis stomps over to inform Latka that 3 cabs came in just now that need repairs. Now, this is my first side note of the episode, Father Malone. Is Latka really the only mechanic in the entire garage? Is the safety and health of the entire Sunshine Cab Company fleet in Latka's sole hands? I don't understand. Do they not have any other mechanics?
They do have other mechanics because we see them from time to time in the background aiding Latka. There's the one in particular, the rather rotund gentleman who is constantly polishing and screwing things back there on the tool chest. No, there are other helpers. It's just that nobody can work the magic of Latka on these cabs.
It just seems like they need more mechanics to work on the fleet, I guess.
Clearly.
But then again, I think it seems like Sunshine Cab is always riding the razor's edge of financial ruin. So maybe that's appropriate that they can only afford one mechanic. Louis admits to Latka that he broke his promise to let Latka have the day off, and Latka calls him a nasty man, which I think is a great insult back to Louis. And Louis replies that he's not nasty. Some guys wouldn't have given him the day off in the first place. Alex, being Alex, asks Latka.
Here we go. Alex in a puffy vest. What's going on here?
He's got the sort of the Back to the Future sort of look. It's not a red vest, but it's got the puffy vest.
Right.
It's sporty Alex. That's the look here.
Is that what we're calling it? Sporty Alex. Okay, sure.
So sporty Alex comes over and asks Latka what he can do to help. It's good. I like Gore-Tex Alex better. So Gore-Tex Alex asks Latka what he can do.
Gore-Tex?
Latka asks Alex to take his mother to Mario's to have breakfast. Here's another side note. What the fuck? Is Mario's seriously the only restaurant in all of New York City? Why the hell do they insist on going there for breakfast?
Hey man, if you had entree to a magical restaurant that appeared and reappeared in various locations around Manhattan, I think you'd go there exclusively.
They never ever talk about any other restaurants or go anywhere else. That's
Look,
all.
You got to figure Mario's is like literally around the corner. It's just the easiest place to go. So if you're going to send your friend with your newly arrived mother to go eat, you want the chance to pop in and say hi. So go to Mario's. Don't take her to fucking Coney Island.
No, I'm not asking them to drive halfway around across the city to take her out for breakfast, but surely. And we've heard them complain about the Mario's food in the past. Anyway, I found it interesting.
Those Nathan's hot dogs are good, though.
Look, who wouldn't love a trip to Coney, right?
Oh my God, man. Nathan's, Jesus.
It'd be great.
Ever had one of those Gray's papaya hot dogs?
No, but I'm familiar. I hear they're fantastic.
Good God, they're delicious. Anyway.
After Latka asks Alex to take his mother out, he protests. Alex says he's coming off of a 14-hour shift. And Alex starts to ask Tony if he could be the one to help. But then, just then, Latka's mother comes in.
Okay, I have to stop you here.
Yeah.
Okay, because before we get to the haha joke of Alex Reiger, he says, listen, I'm on a 14-hour shift. I'm exhausted. There's no way I can do this. Hey, it's Tony's day off. What the fuck is Tony doing at the garage, man? But like, he's giving Latka shit at the beginning and he's just hanging about. What's Tony Banta doing? Doesn't he have goldfish to... Oh, no, he doesn't.
No, but you would figure that maybe he could go to the gym and work out or train. Far as I know, he's still boxing. It is a little odd, and it makes me feel bad for Banta in a funny way. Like I'm having fun with him and calling him a simpleton because he is. But at the same time, it is a little sad that on his day off, he has nothing better to do than hang about the garage and watch people come and go. When Latka's mother comes in, Alex is he's dumbstruck. He's all of a sudden captivated by her beauty. She's tall. She's not at all what you would expect Latka's mother to look like. She's pretty. She's tall. She's buxom. She's appealing to Alex.
She's appealing to everybody. Everybody's tongues are wagging over Latka's mom.
Alex is so struck by her beauty that he forgets what he was going to ask Tony in the first place, because all of a sudden, all eyes are on Latka's mother, Mama Gravas.
What was I saying? Nothing. Get out of here, kid. I ain't going to go talk to this pretty lady. Susan Kellerman is who we're talking about, by the way. This is the name of the actress playing Greta Gravas, who I guarantee everyone within the sound of my voice knows her without knowing her, because she's in Beetlejuice during the big
the Banana Boat song.
Banana Boat song. Yeah, she's the one with the gold lame butt that she shakes in the camera. That's Susan Kellerman. Some eight years later.
She also had a bit of a reunion with Judd Hirsch. She evidently appeared on an episode of Hirsch's 1989 sitcom Dear John. So maybe I have to check that out.
Dear God, we got to check that one out.
Another side note, you were talking about Tony. I should have brought that up then. So Alex is starting to ask Tony if he can take out Mama Gravas before Alex has seen her. When Tony is waiting for Alex's reply because Alex is suddenly dumbstruck with her beauty, did you notice Tony's odd behavior when he's waiting for Alex to reply? He's rocking from side to side. He looks sort of fidgety. It's very distracting. The effect is almost either he is a child who has to go to the bathroom very badly, or probably more likely, he's probably still speeding from all the amphetamines that he's been got. Maybe that's, maybe that's why he's around the garage.
You're really going after Banton now. I love it.
Seriously.
I think there's possibly a third option. Maybe he wanted to fight Alex.
He's spoiling for a fight, so he's like rocking back and forth.
Maybe he's had some there's a fourth. Okay, but the third option is that Tony is used to being sucker punched, where somebody comes up to him and says something and then turns away like never mind, and then they punch him. So he's wary that Alex, even if it's subconsciously, he's ready for fisticuffs. The fourth and most likely of scenarios, flashback.
Well, all of those are very likely, and we've already talked about how animalistic Tony is. I mean, you made this point that he's so, he'll kill you with one punch. He could probably.
Oh yeah, he could. I mean, definitely. I don't think there's any question about that.
So the ever-present threat of physical violence, an explosion of physical violence, maybe that's why he's spoiling for, I like that option. I like the fact that he's spoiling for a fight. I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
So we cut away from the garage. We cut to another B-roll of the mysterious Marios. It's
green awning Marios. We've seen this a few times now. So this is one of 3 of the secret locations.
Still a nice day, and there's that green awning that you spoke of, and all I could read on it, the awning said, it's funny because it's colored green, but it actually had the word green printed on it. So tavern on the green. I don't know what
green room.
The Green Room, Green
it's
Street
probably
Cafe.
Some famous New York location that we're not privy to. People are like screaming at us right now.
It probably is. And if you happen to know what this place actually is, feel free to send us an email. We'd love to hear about it. We fade in to the inside of Mario's, the familiar inside of Mario's. And as Tommy comes over to Alex and Mama Gravas's table to take their order, I'm sure you noticed this, Father Malone. We see another delightful breakfast buffet.
The buffet is back, man. It has rolls, sliced bread, some Danish, 3 kinds of plates, 3 kinds of mugs. Did you notice the napkin dispenser? Did you notice all of the napkin dispensers? Yellow napkins.
Yeah, I didn't notice the napkins so much, but I did notice, like you said, there's a wonderful spread there of Danish and donuts. There's something that appears to be a big Boston cream pie for some strange reason, just waiting for someone to dig into it. And there's a big friendly looking pot of coffee just waiting. It looks so. I guess my previous criticism of Mario's and the idea of going there for breakfast, maybe I'm just full of it. It looks actually delightful to me.
It looks like a big table of death to me, but that's all a gluten issue.
That's true. That's true. Not for someone who has a gluten sensitivity. It's no bueno.
I'll take that coffee now.
It looked fantastic. So I take back what I said about Mario's as a dive. Alex and Mama Gravas start making small talk, maybe flirting a little bit, perhaps. She says she wants to see the city. And Alex asks her, what do you want to see? And she says cheerfully, and this is such a sign of the times. Do you remember what she said, Father Malone? There's
I forgot.
3 things. She wants to see blackout, garbage strike, and urban blight, which if those 3 things don't describe New York in 1979, I don't know what will. Alex compliments Mama Gravas on her English, which also begs the question, why is her English so much better than Latka's when Latka has been in the country for a while and she just came in?
She's smarter than Latka.
Clearly, I think she is. She has a lot more going on. So Alex gets real for a minute and says, and again, there's this flirtation going on, which I'm not
Are
sure
you
how
not?
to feel
Are we
about.
not going to discuss the most disgusting looking hamburgers in the world that arrive as their fucking meals? Wimpy from Popeye would not eat that burger.
My problem with it, and I agree, they look disgusting. They look plain. There's no condiments on them. The bread is all floppy and gross looking. But
Bread? It's like a biscuit sized thing that looks like as dry as the Gobi Desert. It looks awful.
why would they get hamburgers for breakfast in the first place when they have all of that great breakfast finery just waiting to be tucked into? It doesn't
Have
make
one
any
of those
sense.
stale Danish. I bet that's delicious.
The hamburgers do look pretty sad.
Sad? It seems insulting, actually.
Alex says to her, he wasn't expecting someone so young, and she tells Alex that she married Laka's father at 15, and he died in the struggle for liberty and freedom 2 years later. Alex, knowing what he knows about Laka's country, assumes that he was a freedom fighter that was shot by police, to which Mama Gravas corrects him and says, no, he was a policeman shot by freedom fighters.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right, it's a vaudeville right there. Yeah, who's on first? I don't know.
The Charles brothers do have a nasty tendency to go jokey, to go one-linery. Set up punchline. But the thing is, like 95% of the time, the jokes are so fucking good that you go with it. But on occasion, I'm like, "Ugh, come on, guys."
At this point, what they're doing is so ingrained in the fabric of sitcom writing that I don't even get fazed by it anymore. I agree. It is a little bit sort of nudge, nudge, wink, wink, silly, but it didn't take me out of the episode. But you're right. It is a little bit old fashioned and hacky, I guess, if you want
A
to.
little hacky. That's what I'm getting at. When she bites into the hamburger, she like crosses her eyes, like doing like sexy eyes and stuff. Like, talk about vaudeville. Like, it's not just the writing here. Like, everyone committed to this overarch performance.
At this point, and it's a little disconcerting from my part, Alex is really starting to flirt with her. He expresses his disbelief that she never remarried because she is, quote, and this isn't the last time we're going to hear this, she's described as, quote, a very attractive woman. I think about 8 million people say that about Mama Gravas in this episode.
She's an attractive lady. What are you going to do?
She's flirting right back, and things are getting downright creepy, in my opinion. She tells Alex her name, as you said, is Greta. She says, I'm Greta. He says, I'm Alex. And she says, like Alexander? And he says, yeah. And this sends her into a laughing fit. And she tells Alex that in her country, do you remember what she says, Alex? She says Alexander means something.
Means one who makes nick during harvest. And let me just say, let's now officially add nick to vodio do and off-putting multisyllabic replacements for sex. Just say sex. Stop it. Nick.
They start lustily attacking their burgers face to face, letting out all their sexual aggression on these sad-looking hamburgers in the middle of
dry, condimentless burgers that like sub high school cafeteria level burger.
They did actually look like they came right out of a high school cafeteria. You are 100% right on that. Latka comes in. He gives Alex tickets to the Rockettes to take his mother because he can't now. He's got to work and he can't take his mother out and so forth. Latka and his mother he's getting caught up on all the family events from home, and they're talking only in Latka's language. And as they're he'll bring up a person, and Mama Gravas will pantomime something gruesome. Like at one point, she puts her hand to her head like she's shooting herself in the head. And each story seems more grim and awful.
I do like her performance of somebody who had a bunch of operations where they were removing things from the body. She really sells each of the things. You know what's happening to all of Latka's acquaintances.
It's actually really funny because she's not only is she keeping up with Andy Kaufman's foreign man speak, but she's, like you said, she's really funny pantomiming all of these awful things happening to all of these imaginary characters. And at the end of it all, Latka turns and says to Alex, "It's always nice to get the news from home." We cut back to the garage. There's this interminable sort of who's on first act between Burns and Tony.
Yeah.
Because Tony goes to get an apple out of the vending machine. Now, this is a time where you could get fruit out of vending machines, I guess. And he gets an apple out of the vending machine, and it's
You ever
rotten.
got fruit out of a vending machine?
Me? No.
Really?
No.
Wow. I've gotten apples out of vending machines before, but bananas.
What, did you go into the automat in New York City?
I did go to the automat in New York City, but that's not where I got it. I got it in a vending machine at like places in Boston.
Tony gets into this conversation with Burns about why are the apples always rotten, and Burns tries to explain, well, the guy brings the new apples, but the new apples become the old apples, and da 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 da. It goes on far too long. This was probably the one thing that took me out of the episode, but fortunately we get past it relatively quickly.
I liked it, actually.
You like the apple who's on first?
I like the whole apple scene, the vending machine apple bit. I thoroughly enjoyed the pairing of Banta and Burns. They should have put those two together.
Because they're both
dummies.
Yeah.
Yes. It was like proto Bill and Ted. That's why we like them. They're just morons. You know, they're lovable morons.
I guess that's a fair point.
How are we going to get the new apples, John? We can't. It's good.
The way you tell it, it's funny, but for me, it had nothing to do with anything. It wasn't a B plot. It was nothing. It was just
you have to put aside your deep hatred of Tony Banta just for a second. Give him some props. He's funny in that scene.
Maybe it was Burns that turned me against the scene. I don't know, but I do like your reasoning that it's proto Bill and Ted, these two idiots
trying to solve a problem. There's no problem there, guys. The apples are going to be rotten until they're not rotten. Banta has a good idea even, which is buy all the old apples, burn through it to get to the good apples. And then you've got a chance of getting good apples. I want to know more. They should revisit this in future episodes.
Well, they've only got 3 more episodes.
Oh, geez. I'm really pulling for an apple subplot.
So this happens, and then Alex walks in. Bobby, who we've heard nothing about in the whole episode, pretty much. He pipes in and asks how his date with Mama Gravas went. And Alex, he seems very evasive and almost defensive about it. And obviously, we viewers are privy to what the cabbies were not, which is that there was all this sexual tension between Mama Gravas and Alex and Mario's. Alex resists the characterization of it as a date. Burns just out of nowhere pipes in, she sure is attractive. Maybe he's trying to stir something up.
Of course he is. We know Burns' true intentions.
Yeah, he can smell the evasiveness and the discomfort in Alex's reply. And again, like I said, everybody describes her as attractive. It's like using Nick or some other word for, sex. It's like you can't just say she's beautiful, she's hot, she's smoking. No, you got to say she's attractive. She's a handsome woman. I mean, it's very old fashioned. For a dummy, a supposed dummy, I think Burns caught on to Alex's lie before anyone else did, just because you can tell.
Here's the thing, for the show proper, Burns is a dummy, and that's what's funny about him. But what we know is he's like a Jim Thompson character. He's been pretending to be a dummy this whole time, and he's fully aware of everything going on. And here's his opportunity to stir the pot with Reiger and Latka. My God, he knows Reiger had sex with Latka's mom. We all do.
No, he's preparing to feed off of all of the hatred and the anger and the ill will that's bound to happen once Latka finds out about this. But at this point, then the rest of the cabbies all start chiming in about how attractive Mama Gravas is. Elaine makes her first and only appearance in this whole episode. But she is, I think you've made the point that Ralph, what's his name? The costume designer?
Ralph T. Schlane.
Yeah, he put her in yellow this time, and I think you've made that very point previously.
Yeah, no, if you have a choice between yellow and orange, use yellow, and it works, right?
Yeah, she looked gorgeous.
There's a term used to describe Latka's mom at one point. Somebody says she's shockingly friendly visually. Elaine Nardo is shockingly friendly visually during this scene, and that's all I'll say. And I've been a pig before, but was it cold in the studio? There, now you know what I'm talking about.
I think more Elaine would have actually livened up the plot a little bit. But
I
anyhow.
always want to see more of Elaine.
Oh, that is like a Charles Brothers joke right there. You want to see more? Well, I'd love to see more of Elaine. Anyway, I think she brings her booking envelope in, and Alex asks if she can talk to him for a moment. After dancing around a sort of hypothetical situation that Alex puts forth, like, well, say this guy does this, which never works in real life. But so she figures it out. She knows what he's driving at. Alex admits that to Elaine that he got intimate with Latka's mother.
Which she finds hilarious, by the way.
She yells it to Alex's horror, like, keep it down.
It's shock, but it's very amused.
She's smiling. She really finds it humorous. It's clear. But the thing that I find interesting is Alex protests that neither one of them really knew what was going to happen. But I'm calling bullshit on that, because we've already seen the scene in Mario's. We've talked about this ad nauseum, that they were going back and forth, like getting very heated sexually, eating those awful hamburgers. I think that's Alex trying to let himself and Mama Gravas off the hook a little bit. They were hot to trot. They were ready to go.
Yeah, clearly. What is he even talking about? As soon as she grossly bit into that hamburger and crossed her eyes, we knew there was fucking on the horizon. So he's protesting a bit too much. He needs to tell somebody only in that he needs advice on the situation. And the only human being in this garage that he can do that with is Elaine Nardo. But at the same time, he respects Elaine's opinion and knows that she's going to frown upon the entire scenario. So he has to do this stupid dance of hypothesis, and then, then it comes out.
But what is the end game for him talking this through with Elaine?
That she will have some advice on how to handle the situation from here on out. And she does, and she's right.
Alex is not he's not an idiot. He knows that the best solution, which is coincidentally the one that Elaine proposes, is don't say anything. Just shut up about it and pretend it didn't happen, basically.
Sometimes you know the right thing to do. You just need to hear somebody else tell you.
I suppose that's true, and I guess that makes it even more realistic. You need somebody to confirm your suspicions and maybe make you feel like you didn't make this huge mistake, that there's still hope to get out of this. Maybe that's what he was after.
Also, this scene has the best line in the show, which is, she flew in yesterday from the old country. Just for that? Now that's a vaudeville line that fucking works.
It is, and for that brief period where Alex and Elaine are conversing and going back and forth about this dilemma that Alex is faced with, it is really crackling. They have so much chemistry, Mary Lou Henner and Judd Hirsch, and it's a great scene. And there's some, to your point, there's some great lines, and she really brightens up the whole proceedings. Like I said, it's a shame that she very soon will just go away and not be heard from for the rest of the episode. But Alex, through talking with Elaine, he admits that the problem isn't that he feels guilty about what he's done. It's just that he doesn't want Latka to find out, which I guess is refreshing, because how many sitcoms have we seen where somebody is racked with guilt over having sex with someone they weren't supposed to or whatever? But this is, Latka's mother and I were both consenting adults. It wasn't anything that we both didn't really want to do. And we're not ashamed that it happened, but we just don't want Latka to be hurt by the resulting fallout from this thing. And I thought that was actually pretty evolved for a sitcom.
100%. Yeah. I agree. Thank God they shifted the onus of the situation from their friendship rather than act itself. Like, oh no, how could you have sex with her?
For a TV show that was written in the 70s, the late 70s, I thought it was actually a fairly progressive take on the subject.
So now all the vaudeville makes sense. It's there to balance out the more progressive nature of the show. It's to lull the idiots in the audience into like, no, this is just good old fashioned comedy.
It's almost like a spoonful of sugar to help the medicine go down. Latka enters at this point and loudly asks for Alex, and he sounds pretty mad. This doesn't look good for Alex, and Alex goes over to, in all likelihood, take his lumps from Latka or figure out what's going to happen here. Latka tells Alex that his mother admitted to him what happened with Alex. And Alex is convinced that Latka is mad, and he's almost wincing at what's going to happen. But to Alex's surprise, Latka starts referring to Alex as daddy and gives him a big hug as we fade out to commercial.
Oh man, it's a switcheroo. It's a Shyamalan moment here on Taxi where Latka was going to be mad, but no, he's embracing it too much.
We come back from commercial or what have you. And now the rest of the cabbies know all about Alex and Mama Gravas's little tryst.
We got double tough guys here with Bobby and Banta on the cab with the Burns lean in, and Bobby and Banta are up there giggling like a couple of broads on a schoolyard. It
kind of reminded me a little bit like the staging for this scene, like Grease, the song "Summer Nights," where the T-birds are all like, tell me more, and they're all around the picnic benches or what have you, you know.
And then it ends musically too, because I don't know if you noticed when they fucking go up those stairs. At the scene for those characters ends with Bobby and Banta going up to the second floor, but they just squat up there. They think they've left the shot, I think, and now they're just gonna like sit, but I see them. It's very weird.
I didn't notice this. So you're saying when their part of the scene is over, they go upstairs
as if they're going to go upstairs to wherever that office is. Maybe there's a whole other room that we don't know about up there, but they're supposed to go up and disappear. But they just go up to the top of the stairs and then they squat down.
But before that happens, the cabbies are all giving Alex a little bit of business for what he's done with Locke's mother, and Alex protests that
they're giving him the business for giving her the business. You know what I'm talking about.
See, it's great, isn't it? The hackiness. It's very easy to get into.
A bit of audio dough, if I do say so myself.
So Alex is protesting to them. You know, it's not serious. Like it's just a one-time thing. And then Mama Gravas comes in and essentially gropes Alex and calls him Alexander, which cracks up the cabbies. They're having a lot of fun with this. Which I guess you would expect, because Alex is normally the voice of reason. He's the straight arrow in the garage. So this is probably hilarious to them that he got mixed up in this awkward situation.
Oh my God, I'd never stop laughing. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's great because he's so uncomfortable through every facet of what happens to him. So Latka starts laying out this fantasy to his mother and to Alex that they're going to be this big happy family and da-da-da. They both explained to Latka that neither one of them wants to get married, because Latka thinks that Alex is going to become his new father. Neither of them want to actually get married, and this upsets Latka. He says that marriage is the only way to save the family honor. Mama Gravas doesn't care about that. She doesn't care about the family honor. She basically laughs at Latka and says, that's stupid. That doesn't matter.
It's goat droppings is what she said. Because this is my favorite line reading. It's not the best line in the show. It's the line reading. Latka, no goat droppings? Just incredulous and to the point. Like, it's delivered so seriously, and they're just talking about goat shit. It's very, very funny.
Latka says that if she won't marry Alex, then she is nothing but a cockboard, which it must be an awful insult, because Mama Gravas just up and slaps Latka right across the face without even missing a beat. She then tenderly takes Latka aside and tries to explain what happened in their native language to try and get Latka to understand, like, this is not a big deal, to which he then apologizes to his mother.
Do you think Andy Kaufman was a masochist?
From what I know about him, probably.
I mean, he takes that slap. It's totally real. And you know he said go for it, right?
Oh, yeah. No, well, I don't know so much if he's a masochist as he just wants the reality of that moment to really hit hard, so to speak, hit hard, right?
Do you think on some level he enjoys the fact that he just got hit?
You could point to the fact that he loved to be the villain, and he loved, look at him with Jerry Lawler when they were on Letterman, when he let Lawler smack him across the face. Like, it was a hard hit. I don't think he's any stranger to physical comedy in that sense.
I think in the case of Lawler, because I watched that footage again just literally 2 days ago, and he sells the hit really hard. He flies out of that chair, and Lawler does hit him, but no harder, I think, than Susan Kellerman is hitting him here.
We've talked a lot about Andy Kaufman and what he brought to the table and what he does as Latka and how he approached it and all this stuff. But I think we haven't really talked about him too much in the past few episodes, so it's worthwhile. I mean, Who doesn't like a good Andy Kaufman story?
He was also into wrestling. It was mainly women, and that was like the big joke of it and everything. But we saw him wrestling people, like men, like wrestlers. And people can say that wrestling is fake, but obviously it's not. Like, people are being hit, right? So I don't know. Maybe Andy Kaufman just liked a little bit of a punch up every once in a while.
Well, he did. I don't know if you've ever heard, they put out an album. It was called Andy and His Grandmother. Have you ever heard it, Father Malone?
No, I have not.
It is fantastic. It mainly consists of comedy and bits and conversation that he recorded on this tape recorder that he apparently never went anywhere without. And there's one track on it, I think it's actually called Andy Goes to the Movies, where he's having a conversation with, I think it might actually be his grandmother or someone in his family. And he's talking about how he was at the movies and he wanted to sit and watch the credits, but someone came in, like the security came in and gave him a hassle and told me I had to leave because the movie was over. But he didn't want to leave because he paid his money and he was going to watch. And you're listening to this and you're going, oh, this just sounds like just some bullshit that Andy is feeding to his family who don't maybe know any better. But just at that moment, there's an edit in the track and you hear him in the movie theater sitting there going, I paid my ticket, baby, I'm not going. And he's basically playing the heel. And you can hear the guy coming over and getting physical with him and trying to take him out of the theater. I think he just loved that moment of confrontation where things get physical. The threat of physical violence is in the air. He thrived on that. He loved that. Circling back to him getting slapped by his mother, I think he probably did just tell her, look, just haul off. Let's make this believable. Because this insult, like I said, it must be pretty bad for her to react that way. He was willing to do whatever it took to get a reaction. Latka says finally that he forgives his mother, but he will never forgive Alex, and they are no longer friends. Alex is distraught by this. He sits sullenly at the poker table, looking off into the middle distance about what just happened. We then fade into this strange room. At first I thought, been here before. Well, the thing is, at first I thought, because you see Latka, I thought maybe this was a fade in to Latka's apartment. It's not. It's like the mechanic's antechamber.
It's a machine shop is what it's supposed to be, like where they would, because there's like a tire balancer back there and a couple of other like.
But it's tiny though. Like I've been in machine shops in garages.
This is Sunshine Cab Company's version of a machine shop. Like look, they're relying on Latka for everything. They're not going to give him a giant room. They give him what they give him, and he's happy to have it. Everyone needs a place to hide your homemade booze, which makes its reappearance here. Jesus Christ, I'm turning my stomach just thinking about it.
It's a very heavy start to the scene because we fade in and Latka's forlornly working at some piece of machinery. And he goes, as you said, he goes to a locker and grabs a labelless bottle of liquor, and he takes a swig and he brings it over to the table. At this point, Alex walks in and starts trying to talk to Latka. He apologizes once again, and he actually takes a swig of the bottle, and that elicits the usual, like, ooh, it's like much stronger than he apparently expected. And he asks what it is. And Latka says that it's brefnish, which is, I think, another word we haven't heard, and that he made it himself. So it is that gross. I mean, you can only imagine what this stuff must have smelled like, let alone tasted like. But as much as Alex is trying, Latka just cannot forgive him. Nothing Alex says can convince Latka to move past this. The more he tries, the more Latka gets upset, and he ends up crying. Finally, Alex says, well, I guess that's it. And he says goodbye, and he starts to walk sullenly out the door. And as he walks out, Latka says, well, there may be one way if they globnik. We're getting all kinds of interesting foreign man words here. He says it's a custom where if two friends can't agree, they globnik. And Alex looks it up in Latka's sort of dictionary, and it apparently involves simply pretending something never took place. The two of them agree that nothing took place, and they're happily going to move on. Scene over. For all intents and purposes, the episode is over. We have a bumper where the cabbies are playing poker with Latka. They're basically using Latka's foreign man language as terminology for the
talk about
hands and stuff.
interminable, sir. You thought the Apple scene was interminable. This is a bit much.
Yeah, this just seemed like they had no good button for the show, so they just figured they would just throw in this poker joke and let that play out or whatever. Anyway, that's the episode.
Well, hold on. I do want to point out that at one point they're talking about who has the different terminology for the different cards or the suits, the hands that they had been dealt. Somebody says they had a Kripke. They kept saying a Kripke. Apparently a Kripke is a really good hand. And all I can say is that Eric Kripke created the TV series Supernatural, and now he's the showrunner on The Boys. So Kripke was valuable even back then.
So let's dig into yellow lights. What do you say?
What does a yellow light mean?
Just a reminder, we're scoring on 1 to 5 yellow lights. 1 is the worst episode of Taxi you could possibly imagine. 5 yellow lights is this is the platonic ideal of what a perfect Taxi episode would be. And as is our custom, Father Malone, I'm going to throw it to you first. How many yellow lights do you give Mama Gravas?
Her or the episode?
The episode. The name of the episode is Mama Gravas.
In that case, I'll give it 3 yellow lights.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised based on how negative this sort of conversation was around the episode. Why would you give it a better than average score?
I think the jokes that do work really well. I think all the performances are solid. All the characterizations are really good. Even though I always want more Nardo, they use Nardo at the most effectively for her character. And it's good to see Latka not out of his element, but interacting with another person who sort of is from his land. I enjoy those episodes. I'm really going to have fun when Simca finally arrives.
And that's the gold standard for where they take Latka's character and his character arc.
Here's the thing, HP. Here's my reasoning. When we say between 1 and 5 yellow lights, and 1 is just fucking deplorable, like I would never recommend it ever. This one was pretty good, this episode. I didn't feel insulted by it at all. So it can't be adjacent to the worst thing ever. That, of course, is Angela.
I think you mean Blind Date.
No,
the episode is called Blind Date.
I mean Angela.
All right. I gave this episode 2 yellow lights, and I'll tell you why. Yes, it does have its funny moments, but it's pretty much solely centered on Alex, Mama Gravas, and Latka. And even Latka is rather incidental for the most part. So it's what you're really getting is mostly just Alex and Mama Gravas. And Mama Gravas is a fantastic character. She's great. She kind of lightens up the proceedings quite a bit. The episodes that I take to heart as being exceptional all involve the rest of the cabbies. And the very best involve the cabbies operating as an ensemble. And we get none of that here. The rest of the cabbies have really, Louis has very little to do also. And again, we've talked about how shameful it is that Elaine she just comes in, does her thing with Alex, which is good, and then she's gone and you never see her again. It's a shame. But the reason why I knocked it down a full yellow light is because of the ending, because of the resolution of the Alex Latka dilemma, to which there really is no resolution. This gave me uncomfortable flashbacks to the episode Elaine and the Lame Duck. In fact, it kind of mirrors the end of that. Now, if you remember the end of Elaine and Lame Duck, that's Jeffrey Tambor plays the sad sack idiot who.
I remember it very well. Yes, it was horrible.
I know we're trying to forget it because it's not a good episode, but at the end, he's going too fast, and Elaine basically says we have to calm down, and he basically says, "Well, I guess it's goodbye then," and he walks out, and only to walk right back in like nothing happened. So there's really no resolution. The resolution is we're just going to forget that the preceding 20 minutes even happened. Well, the same thing happens here.
That also happened with, remember, Bobby's acting career, the episode Bobby's acting career, where I'm going to quit the business. Then at the end, he's like, I guess I won't quit the business.
I had not thought about that until now, but you're absolutely right. I might have to revisit how many lights we gave that episode. But nevertheless, the resolution of Latka and Alex's situation is no resolution. It's almost worse than Elaine and the lame duck, because they just tacitly admit to themselves, our resolution is to pretend it didn't happen. Pretend what happened? And scene. I was so turned off by that, and how lazy it seemed to me that they just were kind of, maybe they couldn't figure out a funny way or a more clever way to resolve it. So they just basically said, well, let's make it a custom from Latka's country that they can just say a funny word and then they'll never have to talk about it again. Well, that didn't cut it with me. Let that be a lesson to you, Charles Brothers. I'm on to you.
Let me ask you a question then, HP.
Yeah.
What was the satisfying resolution to this?
What would have been the satisfying resolution?
Yes.
I don't have that answer, but I'm not a TV writer. I'm not paid to come up with good solutions.
Excellent answer, sir. I have one. Ready?
Yeah.
Latka murders Reiger and puts him in the trunk of 804 and then spends the rest of the day driving around giving free rides.
Sweat pouring down his face with dark circles under his eyes.
He's big smile. Just Latka's just all happy and waving to people. And would you like a ride? It's free today. Yes.
I could not in good conscience give this any more than 2. I'm not going to give it 1 because it's reserved for the worst of the worst. And I don't think this is...
It's reserved for Burns episodes, honestly.
True. If this pops on TV, I'm not going to turn the channel immediately. I'll probably watch it.
Your take is this is as bad as a Taxi episode can be without centering on Burns.
Not necessarily, because there can be a 1-star without Burns. We'll see that. There will be 1-star episodes without Burns. I can almost assure you of that. It's not the worst it can ever be, because that would be a one yellow light. It's as bad as it can be and still be somewhat rewatchable, if that makes any sense. 2 yellow lights from me, 3 yellow lights from Father Malone. So that will do it for this particular episode of Night, Mr. Walters. Father Malone, when you're not checked into the cab, where can folks find you on the internet?
You can find me over at Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast. It's a podcast I do with the Culture Cast's Chris Stashew and the Projection Booth's Mike White, where we review horror anthology television series. We are wrapping up Night Gallery, and soon, around March, actually, it'll be we're going to be taking over Tales from the Dark Side. That's a TJ Castronova connection. You can hear me there, or hear me on Noise Junkies. It's a music podcast I do with HP and Mondo Heather's Heather Drain, or hear me on Dark Destinations. It's a half-hour radio drama I write and produce.
Fantastic. And as for me, you can find me in a lot of the same places you can find Father Malone. I'm also on the proudly part of the Weirding Way network of stars, if you will. You can hear me, as Father Malone said, on Noise Junkies. I guest occasionally on the Culture Cast. And you can hear me a little bit here and there on Dark Destinations. And I've been proud to do some of the music for that as well. So if you like a good audio drama, please check that out. Please feel free, if you like what you hear, please feel free to subscribe to the podcast, write a review, or rate us, and we'd love to hear from you. For myself and for Father Malone, thank you again for listening, and we will see you again next episode. Thank you so much.
Night, Mr. Walters.